morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It's a new week. It's Mucking Fonday, and we've got a lot of news to share from today and over the weekend. So I hope you don't know what's going on because I told you not to pay attention to the news over the weekend. And you better listen to me. This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee, a father and daughter podcast where we look up the news right before we start. We just got caffeine in our bodies and we're learning to read and speak live on stream. Let's read those headlines and roll that segue wheel. Today on Mucking Fonday. WhatsApp to face fresh scrutiny as EU decides it's a big online platform. And Ukraine war update. EU states decide on a complete ban on Russian gas.
The United States Senate is putting the brakes on DHS funding bill over the violent thugs in Minnesota.
More than 3,700 arrested in global human trafficking crackdown, Interpol says. And Defense Ministry ceremony in France commemorates French soldiers in Afghanistan.
European countries are threatening to sell all U.S. securities and ruining our bond rating. Plus, China starts purging its military.
In my culture news, we're finally talking about the Twitter drama that happened over like 3 weeks ago, but now EU is investigating Elon Musk's Grok chatbot over explicit images.
And it's National Green Juice Day. I only have brown juice, and if you have green coffee, I would like to try some because I haven't seen any green coffee, but I'm sure it's out there. January 26th is the day. January 26, 2026. I'm Before Green Coffee.
What you need to do is you need to put spinach in your coffee, and then you can have some green coffee. I love spinach drinks. Oh my god, it's so good. I don't know what it is. I don't know if you fed me a lot of good spinach when I was a child, but I love spinach.
Yeah.
Spinach dip, maybe. I feel like whenever we went to Applebee's or similar like places, we always got that artichoke and spinach dip. So I love spinach.
Really? I don't remember ever eating out much, but hey. It must have been when we were on the road, right? Birthdays and shit.
Also, good morning, Tommy.
That's
Thanks for being here. I agree. Let's ban all Russian gas and let's burn Twitter. And he also says moldy coffee is sometimes green, so maybe that's what green juice is. Eat some mold.
You spent extra time in the bathroom then. Yay.
Yeah, from both ends, I think.
Meet some nice emergency room nurse in your spare time.
Okay, let's roll our segue wheel before we get sick here on the Yes, deactivate your Twitter and get on any other platform. Even Threads is better than Twitter at this point. Our first
Twitter
segue is going to be Limerick.
Again, nothing's ever happened on Twitter. That's still true. Nothing's ever happened there.
It's just a false. It's a false cognizance or a cognitive trick that you think something's happening on Twitter. The same thing that's always happening everywhere else.
We get to find out who has Tourette's syndrome out there, I guess. They just can't control their internal dialogue. I guess that's about all good.
Well, I feel like I don't know if that translates to speaking or to typing on Twitter, but yeah, sure.
Well, it's the same. It's like I got something I got to say with about the very minimum of facts, and I'm gonna call people names based on it. That's what Twitter is out of it, and it's, that's what TikTok is too. It's just a video format.
No, TikTok's getting. Well, we're not talking about the day. Maybe I'll talk about it on Wednesday or something. But TikTok's also going through some drama right now, where people are leaving the platform. So
It's the different symptoms of the same disease. It's like it's affected a different bodily organ. That's all.
I mean, this kind of goes into my next story. Actually, this is a kind of a good segue into my first story. Don't forget, you're doing a limerick. WhatsApp is getting investigated by the EU because they've decided that it is now a social media platform, right? It's not just a messaging app or it's considered now a big online platform, so it needs to follow regulations under the EU. This is from Eliza Gitsky on Politico. Where's the article? It's not here. There it is. Okay. Coming out of Brussels, Meta's WhatsApp will face fresh scrutiny from Brussels after the EU decided the service falls under its tough regime for the biggest online platforms. I mean, it's owned by Meta. I think every platform owned by Meta should probably be on the same scrutiny. A decision announced today on the 26th of January to classify WhatsApp channels as popular online platform, joining the likes of Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, and TikTok. Means that the app will now be held liable for how it handles systematic risks to users, like all those WhatsApp scams that keep happening, where you get added to like a WhatsApp group chat and then you just get spammed with like porn bots and stuff. It's happened to me 3 times. I don't even know how. Also, thank you for your stream streak of 5 streams, Tommy. Platforms that fail to meet regulatory requirements can be fined up to 6% of their global annual turnover under the EU Digital Service Act. Digital Service Act is exactly one of the reasons why you have to say, I accept these cookies on most platforms, by the way. The verdict also lands as countries such as France are actively discussing restrictions on social media and platforms for children. The decision for focus is particularly on WhatsApp channels in which admins can broadcast announcements to groups of people in a feed, similar to like, a TikTok feed or a Twitter feed. WhatsApp's private messaging service is explicitly excluded, so they're not going to be regulating actually sending messages over Wi-Fi, like Wi-Fi text and calls. They're only going to be regulating what happens in channels. So if you join a BTS WhatsApp channel, that will be regulated. WhatsApp was aware that the decision was coming as far back as August, when it reported that the channels had approximately 51.7 million users in the EU. So there's 51 million people using WhatsApp channels. That crossed the EU's threshold of very large online platforms with over 45 million users in the EU. Meta now has 4 months to assess and mitigate systematic risk on a platform, like spreading fake news, scamming, other terrible things that happen on social media. Those risks include spread of illegal content. Oh, that's another good one. That illegal content, as well as threats to civic discourse, elections, fundamental rights, and health. Hey guys, join we're gonna fuck up the election group chat. We're gonna do it. WhatsApp channels continue to grow in Europe and globally. As this expansion continues, we remain committed to evolving our safety and integrity measures in the region, ensuring they align with relevant regulatory expectations and our ongoing responsibility to users, WhatsApp spokesperson Joshua Breckman said in a statement. Well, that's just corpo speak, we want to make sure people aren't doing anything dangerous, but please stay on our WhatsApp. I've actually never looked at this WhatsApp channel thing at all. I only use WhatsApp as a group chat system, like I have a group chat with everyone I live with. So we say, oh, I did this, or take out the trash, stuff like that. Dinner's ready. But I've never used a WhatsApp channel. I think I've used a Telegram channel, which I don't know if Telegram's under this same regulation. I have like a couple of BTS Telegram channels I'm in. But I guess we'll see in 4 months any updates on this. Yeah, I guess there are some WhatsApp chats that run government leaks, which is probably something they need to regulate for sure. But I told you these stories are short. They're not very long.
Had my mic off, sorry. Got a limerick.
Oh, you got a limerick? Okay, great.
Is it done?
I was worried I covered that too fast.
Okay, what's up? It says, "What's up with this? What's up with this thing called WhatsApp?" There, I didn't remember what I wrote in my first line. I couldn't read it. What's up with this thing called WhatsApp? Like most social media, it is 90% crap. But like Grok and its porn, governments want to warn about Zuckerberg's diabolical trap.
That was great. Amazing. Great limerick. Okay, my next story is not about social media. It is about Ukraine war updates, because we have to update the Ukraine war, because I haven't forgotten about it, and neither should you. I know everyone else is talking about Greenland, but that's not a real threat. A real threat is Russia taking over the entirety of East Europe. This is from Sarah Vojta and DPA on ZEET. In Brussels, 24 of the 27 EU member states approved the Commission proposal to completely phase out Russian gas. The exit is to be completed next year in 27. I can give you a couple of guesses on who the member states that don't agree with banning the gas are. Looking at you, Hungary. And I think also, not Latvia. Is it Latvia? I think it's Latvia. Or Lithuania. The EU member states have definitively decided on a complete ban on gas imports from Russia. Imports of Russian gas via pipelines are to be gradually reduced and completely stopped by the 1st of November 27 at the latest. So it could be even earlier than that. This will also affect long-term contracts. 24 of the 27 EU member states voted in Brussels in favor of the corresponding regulation, thus clearing the final hurdle. Negotiators from the member states and the European Parliament had negotiated in December. Members of the European Parliament had already given their approval. The regulation does, however, contain a kind of safety clause. If the security of the supply of one or more member states should be jeopardized, the EU Commission can allow the affected EU countries to suspend import bans on gas, only if a member state declares a state of emergency or temporary deliveries permitted. So, for example, what happened, I think, last year in 2024 to 2025, what was it, Montenegro, I think it was Montenegro. It gets a lot of its heating from Russia. Russia cut them off, even though there's a region in Montenegro that is full of Russian citizens, right? There's like a Russian exclave in there. And they said, fuck you guys. Yeah, we want to protect our Russians in Ukraine, but we're not going to protect the Russians in Montenegro. And then they had to get a lot of support from the EU. Was it Montenegro? Now I feel like I'm missing another country here. Either way, they had to get support from the EU because Russia didn't supply them with any gas. So that would be an example of reasons why they would open up their deliveries of gas. According to analysis by European Commission, a complete halt to Russian gas imports poses no risks to the security of supply. The Commission stated last year that there are enough other suppliers on the global market. Consumers, therefore, need not to worry too much in rising gas prices. Yeah, the only reason gas prices rose back when the war happened originally is because, well, it was just a surprise war. Nobody was warned about it. And then Russia was like, hey, we're going to start a war. And everyone says, we can't buy gas from you. You just started a war. And then we weren't ready to, pick up the supply that we needed. The regulation now adopted is also intended to create a legal certainty. While the sanction must be renewed every 6 months and require unanimity among the member states, the legal changes now envisioned will apply permanently. Until the start of the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022, the energy supply in Germany and many other EU countries was largely secured by cheap oil and gas from Russia. After the outbreak of the war, the EU imposed far-reaching import bans on Russian energy sources such as coal and oil. These measures are intended to ensure that EU member states become independent of energy imports from Russia in the long term, and thus less vulnerable to blackmail. Furthermore, the complete import ban is intended to make it more difficult for Russia, a major resource-rich power, to continue financing its war of aggression against Ukraine. Even after nearly 4 years of war, Russia continues to generate billions in profits from energy deliveries to the EU. According to data from the EU statistics agency Eurostat, the EU imported liquefied natural gas, LNG, worth almost 4.5 billion from Russia in the first half of 25. In 24, natural and processed gas was worth 15.6 billion. It was imported by Russia. By comparison, gas imports from the US only amounted to 19.1 billion. So they're giving still most of their euros to the US, but they give a lot to Russia in 24, but now they've lowered it down at least halfway through 25 to 4.5 billion, and they're hoping by 27 to make that zero. Unless there's an emergency, of course. But they're hoping to get it down all the way to zero. So they're not helping fund this stupid war in Ukraine. That's my story, my update on the constant Ukraine war fiasco.
Alright, let's try this.
That just completely upended the economy in Europe. The original point of the EU, right, as a economic union, was that everyone relies on each other so that nobody can have the upper hand. But the problem with Russia is that it's not relying on the EU at all. It's pretty independent. So when they invaded Ukraine, there was no way to really punish them other than not buying their stuff. Give me your limerick.
Right. Putin was putting in forces. Europe says, Vlad, hold your horses. Now they get to set. How soon we forget that they will say niet to any exporting of Russian resources. There you go. No way. I am ready to write a limerick first thing on Monday. Not a chance.
Yeah.
Do the worst limerick.
It's definitely a challenge, but hey, your attempt is still appreciated because
it's over with. And I'm done. Don't give me more. No more work today. That's just too much. Funding deal begins. Okay. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing to be happy about.
Let's just move on.
There's nothing funny going on anywhere. PBS.org has a story. Oh, I'm sorry, you had to spin it, yeah.
I'm going to give you a haiku, looks like. So now it's time for me to do some poetry.
Oh boy. Alright, well. 1 down, 5 to go. Alright. Funding deal begins to unravel as Senate Democrats vow to oppose DHF bill over pretty shooting in Minnesota. Long friggin' headline. In other words, the ICE thugs shot a man who had a gun. They took his gun away and shot him on the ground while he's laying there, defenseless. 8 things. They called it a justified shooting. That's where we are in the United States. So I've been pissed off all weekend, so you can excuse my mood. So the Democratic Senator, this is from PBS.org. Democratic senators are vowing to oppose the funding bill of the Department of Homeland Security following the shooting death of a 37-year-old Minnesota man. A stand that increases the prospect of partial government shutdown. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, in a social media post hours after the Saturday shooting, said what was happening in Minnesota is appalling and that Democrats will not provide the votes to proceed with the appropriations bill if the DHS funding bill is included. They can shut down ICE tomorrow. They should eliminate this completely as a budget item, lay everybody off that works there, fire everybody, and arrest them. Six of the 12 annual spending bills for the current budget year have been signed into law by Stinky the Clown. 6 more are awaiting action in the Senate, despite a revolt from the House Democrats and mounting calls for Homeland Security puppy slayer Christie Nolan impeachment. If senators fail to act by midnight Friday, the funding for Homeland Security and other agencies covered under the 6 bills will lapse. Good. Fuck them. And I used to work for these assholes, Homeland Security. I never really worked for ICE. I did work
No,
with
they didn't really exist back then.
ICE, ICE, yes, they did exist. ICE was created by the Department of Homeland Security. It used to be called Immigration, INS. Now they're called ICE. Democrats sought common sense reforms of the Department of Homeland Security spending bill, but because Republicans refused to stand up to Stinky, the DHS bill is woefully inadequate to rein in the abuses of ICE, said Schumer, Democratic New York. I will vote no. The White House reached out to Senate Democrats. Fuck you. Why would the Senate Democrats even take a call for that piece of shit? Anyway, as have Republicans, according to Senate Democratic leaders, insisted the anomaly discuss private talks, but they have not yet raised any realistic solutions. Republicans will need some Democratic support to pass the remaining spending bills in time to avoid a partial shutdown. Don't give in anything, and don't compromise. Just say fuck you. We ain't spending for any of this. Most Americans favor the abolishment of this agency, complete abolishment. Like, we don't need it. It's not necessary. They're not doing a function we need. That support was already in question after they murdered Renee Good in her car. Is not doing anything to anyone. And that was a murder, which they still haven't arrested that guy. But the fatal shooting Saturday of Alex Preddy, an intensive care unit nurse, quickly prompted Democrats to take more forceful stand. Of course, if you're shooting somebody because you're in fear for your life, why did you have to shoot them a whole shitload of other times after they were already disabled and bleeding? Again, this is murder. This is cold-blooded, premeditated murder. Those guys got up that day, Saturday morning, intending to kill somebody. And they were just looking for a target. If you want to say that as anything else, it was cold-blooded murder, and that's all it was. You want to call it anything else, it's not. Washington's Senator Patty Murray, the top Democrat in the Senate's Appropriation Committee and key negotiator in a funny patch, had been pushing her colleagues to vote for the Homeland Security bill. Oh, well, you fucking genius. Arguing that the Democrats had successfully fought off major increases to the... Oh, we fought off major increases. Oh boy, we got off the major increases to these fascists. But in the wake of the shooting, Murray said on Saturday, I will not support the DHS bill as it stands. Oh, okay. I would just say, eliminate ICE's budget completely, or I'm not voting for it. That should be their point of view right now. Eliminate them completely, or we're not voting for it. That is all. They're not necessary. They serve no function. There has been fewer deportations in the Trump administration than there was last year in the Biden administration. They actually claim that self-deportations are included in our numbers, but you know what? You can't track self-deportations. You have no way to track those. Somebody is not going to self-deport and notify the government. Everybody has self-deported. Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's like asking people, hey, are you happy that you're doing this illegal thing? And they'll say, no, I didn't do that illegal thing. They're never going to admit doing an illegal thing.
That's not even the point. The point is people are showing up for their fucking hearings and getting arrested and thrown in fucking jail. That's what's happening. So why would you even notify the government that you're in any status whatsoever? They're just going to fucking arrest you. Throw you in a fucking jail, some country you've never been in.
Yeah.
Federal officials have defended the actions of the agents. Oh, good. Good for them. Good for you, fascists. You've defended your fascist murdering thugs. Way to go. Appreciate you defending your fascist murdering thugs. Democrats said the video released of both shootings showed otherwise. Republicans are increasingly challenging, some calling for thorough investigations. Others are just fascist bootlickers. The events in Minneapolis are incredibly disturbing, said Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican in Louisiana. Let's not forget, Bill Cassidy was one of the Republicans who voted to impeach Trump. So he's on Trump's enemy list already, and he's not running for re-election because, well, that's it. That's what happens to the Republican Party. Anyway, Bill Cassidy, has had at least knows what his job is. The credibility of ICE and DHS are at stake. There must be a full joint federal and state federal investigation, state investigation. The federal government is going to cover it up. We can trust the American people with the truth. We hope we can. Senator Tom Tillis, another Republican who's not running for re-election, so he can say what he really means, wants a thorough and impartial investigation into the shooting and said any administration official who rushes to judgment and tries to shut down an investigation before it begins are doing an incredible disservice to the nation and Stinky the Clown's legacy. Who cares what his legacy? Oh, Tillis is trying to curry favor with these scumbags still. Senator Lindsey Graham, who paused being on Grindr for 5 minutes to say something, said Democrats should support the DHS funding and work with him to end the mess created by sanctuary city policies. What mess exactly would that be? What mess created by sanctuary city policies? Please explain to me like I'm 5 years old. sanctuary cities is essentially people are coming to this country. We can't round them all up. It is cost prohibitive. They work and they have no police protection whatsoever because they're illegal. So sanctuary cities, you live in them, police protection. What the hell's wrong with that? But Lindsey Graham's like, oh, they're subhuman. They're not, they don't belong.
Yeah.
Not like Lindsey Graham's, Lindsey Graham's, slave-holding ancestors. They were real Americans, right? Get the fuck out of here, Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham should be taken. Never mind.
Those people didn't have papers either.
Lindsey Graham, the most compromised person in the United States Senate. Lindsey Graham's a pile of shit. The growing backlash from Democrats puts Republicans leaders on the Senate in difficult position. Much of the government, including the Department of Defense, continues to operate a short-term bill that provides funding through Friday. The Republican leader said he hoped to avoid another shutdown after the last fall's 43-day closure. That's how you do when you're in charge, Republicans. You shut down the government. Every damn time you're in charge of the government, you shut it down. Every fucking time. So shut the fuck up about it. Oh no, we're not going to fund the thugs. Again, ICE performs no function that we need, none whatsoever. They have turned themselves into the Gestapo. There used to be a need for immigration. Nothing wrong with having an immigration and enforcement component to your government. You got to have people at the border. But once again, if they're just thugs kicking in people's doors without a warrant, that's against the freaking Constitution. Before Preddy's death, many Democrats felt the same way about the potential shutdown, lending support to the House. In the House, and most of the remaining appropriation bill, with DHS the exception. House Democrats largely rejected Homeland Security portion last week with a handful. There are 7 Democrats for whatever reason. I don't know how to think. Yes, so 7 Democrats voted. That's an absolute disgrace. More than 100 Democrats called for Noam's impeachment. The House spent 6 funding bills, sent 6 bills as a package, and that makes it exceedingly difficult to strip out the Homeland Security portion, which Democrats are demanding. Despite the procedural hurdles, Schumer says Republicans, Democrats advance the other 5 bills. Yeah, advance the other 5. Let's have some hearings. Let's have some House hearings on what the hell's going on with these guys. Where are these agents? Why do they wear masks? Why do they got to wear masks? There's no federal law enforcement anywhere, not even civilian law enforcement, nowhere. Wearing masks except these thugs. So, death to ICE, death to fascists. If they kick in your door, just start shooting. Just blast away. Because they're going to do the same to you. It's just a matter of time. They're just going to start taking people and shooting them in the head. If there's no recriminations for that, what's to stop them from continuing to do it? What's going to stop them? You? Me? I can't. The U.S. Senate can stop them. They can stop them dead in their tracks right now. Eliminate them from the budget completely. It's like real simple. But we got cowards in this country, and the Republican Party is just full of cowards. That's all they are anymore. That's all they got. They only got cowards. All the brave people left that party 4 years ago. All right, where's your haiku? I only got one story.
My haiku is, let me find it. Here it is. Silent streets echo, a voice lost in the shadows. Justice cries for peace. I also want to point out that this might surprise some people. I'm not saying it surprises you, but it might surprise some people that this is happening. But I've been saying even before 2016. You know, people are like, "Oh, if I said before 2016, I could get deported," and then people would say to me, "Yeah, but you're a citizen. You have papers," and I'm like, all you need to do is burn my papers or lose the file, and I'm illegal. I can't prove who I am. If a paper is the only thing that is saving you, it's not enough. And historically, the U.S. has deported people who were Americans, or even people they promised to give citizenship to. Way long, like during World War II, during World War I. And let's not even talk about how a lot of people would execute Native Americans, right? Like only good Indian is a dead Indian used to be a phrase. So, and those people were here way before the United States was invented. So, I'm just saying I feel sad. I feel sad for people who can't comprehend this happening, because it's happening.
Just wanted to point out that Anne Frank was breaking the law, and her neighbors that turned her in were obeying the law.
Mm-hmm.
So you just think I'm on the right side of the law. The law isn't anything moral. It's just whoever's in charge decides something's illegal. They make things illegal because the rich people want to control you. That's the only reason laws exist, by the way. Laws exist just for poor people and honest people. It's the only reason they exist. Rich people have to follow the law. They never will follow the law. Expecting them to follow the law. You can't expect the President of the United States to follow the law. Why should I have to follow the law?
Yeah.
So, once again, I have no confidence that...
And also, by the way, a lot of people are saying, well, if you follow the law, you shouldn't get shot in the head.
What's the law?
No.
Again.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out the NRA. The NRA is not totally like, oh my God, they killed the armed man. They don't care because he's a liberal, but they do come out and call Trump full of shit for saying he was not any law. He was carrying a concealed weapon. He didn't try to use his weapon. They took his weapon off him after he was laying out, and then they shot him and kept his gun.
And also a reminder that there's plenty of people who've actually done mass shootings and they've been taken into custody safely without being shot in the head 10 times or shot in the body 10 times.
Again, right.
Yeah.
Execution is not the punishment for having a gun illegally anyway.
Yes. That's what the Court of Law is for. Anyways, let's go off this tangent. Hello, Tiki Room Bunnies.
Anybody in this country
hope you
who
had a good weekend. I know we're talking about some heavy stuff here.
Anybody in this country that's not 100% pissed off about this, better not come near me. It's a good thing I'm Snowden.
Yeah.
I see anybody in a Trump hat, they're getting knocked the fuck out. I'll go to jail. I don't care. I hear they feed you in jail, and you don't have to work.
Okay.
I'm just saying, man. I don't
Let's
have
go
any
on to our
patience
next
for any
story
argument
before we
other than-
continue this rant for 10 more minutes.
I have no patience for any other argument whatsoever. I am thoroughly pissed off.
Let's go to our next segue, which is well, get your poetry out. You have to write another haiku.
No boy.
It's haiku versus haiku. Who can? Well, you have to write two, because I have two stories. My next story is about human trafficking. We have a huge human trafficking crackdown. 3,700 people have been arrested. This is coming off of Euronews. A global crackdown on human traffickers and migrant smugglers, coordinated by Interpol, led to arrests of more than 3,700 suspects and aided over 4,400 potential trafficking victims around the world. The International Law Enforcement Organization said today on the 26th of January, not July. I wish it was July, it'd be warmer. Interpol said 14,000 offers carried out Operation Libertera 3 across 119 countries between the 10th to 21st of November, which led to 3,744 arrests, the protection of 4,414 potential victims, and the detection of 12,992 people caught in illegal migration schemes. Yes, there's many, many different ways to have human trafficking, whether it's a work-based, sex work-based, child trafficking, of course. There's so many different trafficking, and they've saved 4,000 people from that. Authorities opened at least 720 new investigations, according to the agency headquartered in France, that helps police in 196 member countries collaborate to fight international crime. Criminal networks are evolving, exploiting new routes, digital platforms, and vulnerable populations. Interpol Secretary General Valdesi Urquiza said in a statement, "Identifying these patterns allows law enforcement to anticipate threats, disrupt networks earlier, and better protect victims." Interpol highlighted cases involving South Americans and Asians in Africa. Yes, I remember they found like a bunch of Chinese workers running some sort of like cryptocurrency bot farm, in Africa somewhere, just
Wow.
in like a sweatshop doing this, saying there appeared to be an emerging change in human trafficking that contrasts with past patterns of African victims being trafficked abroad. But now people are being trafficked to Africa instead. Trafficking scams remained a serious concern, with migrants intercepted from dangerous routes along the coast of Senegal, Guinea-Bissau, Morocco, and Algeria, and land networks in Peru, Brazil, and other countries, Interpol said. Authorities in the West and Central African countries of Benin, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Senegal, and Sierra Leone reported law enforcement action that rescued more than 200 victims and disrupted multiple recruitment and exploitation hubs. Fun fact, or not fun fact, important protect yourself fact: if anybody ever asks you for your passport and to give it to them, do not. That is the first rule of avoiding being a trafficking victim. Do not let somebody else have control over your ID, because they have control over your ID, they control your life. Victims in Africa are often recruited through the pretext of foreign employment. Yeah. Oh, we'd love to employ you. This position's paying you 20 euros an hour. Oh, wow, that's a lot of money. Yeah, we just need you to give us your passport, and then we'll control all the travel, and then you're going to be stuck in a box where we're going to take 80% of your income and say we're sending it to your family, but they're really spending it on new Lamborghinis. At least that's a story we did 2 years ago, I think. They were in the UK. They were saying they were sending money to their family, and they were just putting it in their own bank account. Victims in Africa are often recruited through the pretext of foreign employment. Traffickers charge high fees and force victims to recruit friends and family in exchange for improved conditions, furthering a pyramid scheme model, Interpol said. A 2025 cybercrime crackdown in Africa led to the arrest of 1,209 suspects who targeted 88,000 people for trafficking. In Asia, authorities discovered 450 workers in a single raid on a compound in Myanmar, Interpol said. 450 workers working like slaves to get other people rich. Well, at least they knew they were being trafficked, unlike the rest of us who are being lied to that we're not being slaves. But this is good news, right? This is good news. 4,000 people saved. Traffickers arrested, put under scrutiny, and discovering way more secret organization of trafficking. Did I read that story too fast?
No, I was just looking for a video. So haiku!
Yes, a haiku.
Haiku time, I guess. I guess I'll read this in a French accent. When I want a friend, I go to the local pimp. And it don't cost much. Because, I want to be, traffic. The lonely loser in France. Or
Yep.
wherever.
For sure. My story.
Another one, huh? Another story?
Yeah, another story, and this is going to be about the defense ministry. Speaking of France, there was some drama, as there always is, when the convicted felon Trump opens his mouth. This is from AP News, coming out of Paris. A senior French government official said today, on the 26th of January, the memory of the French soldiers who died in Afghanistan should not be tarnished following the U.S. convict and clown that troops from the non-U.S. NATO countries avoided the front line during the war. We're just going to ignore that the UK, France... I mean, there was a whole drama. France had soldiers in Afghanistan. They pulled out because they were like, I don't know why we're fighting this war anymore. And then everyone in the U.S. started to call fries freedom fries instead of French fries because we got betrayed by France. It was a whole thing. I was alive for it. So the idea that they weren't there at all and they didn't help is... obviously fucking bullshit, like everything that comes out of his mouth. Alice Rufo, the Minister Delegate of the Defense Ministry, laid a wreath at the monument in downtown Paris dedicated to those who died for France in the overseas operations. Speaking to reporters, Rufo said that the ceremony had not been planned until the weekend, adding that it is crucial to show that we do not accept that their memory be insulted. In October 2001, when I was 10 or whatever. Nearly a month after the September 11th attacks, the U.S. led an international coalition. Right? If you were alive during this, I remember it. Even if I was a child, I remember it. Everyone went. It wasn't just the United States. Led a Afghanistan coalition to destroy Al-Qaeda, which had used the country as its base and the group's Taliban hosts.
The only time NATO was ever activated, by the way.
Yeah.
I like your story.
Yeah. Other than Kosovo, that's the only other NATO thing recently, anyways. Right. Alongside the U.S. were troops from dozens of countries, not just France, not just the U.K., dozens of NATO allies, including NATO, whose mutual defense mandate had been triggered for the first time after the attacks on New York and Washington. Indeed, it was a foreign attack on a NATO ally, so that does indeed trigger, I think, Article 11, which is everyone in NATO has to go fight the people who attacked you in an interview, which is kind of why people don't get attacked so much. The idea is that if you have NATO and people try to attack you, the full force of all the NATO countries go down on them, and it's supposed to be a deterrent. In an interview with Fox Business Network in Davos, Switzerland, convicted felon Trump on Thursday claimed that non-U.S. NATO troops stayed a little off the front lines in Afghanistan. 1990 French soldiers died in the conflict. I know that's not a lot, and probably half of them were killed by friendly fire. As such that's a reference to how the U.S. has a lot of friendly fire reports, a lot of them. At such a moment, it is symbolically important to be there for their families, for the memory and to remind everyone of the sacrifice they made on the front line, Rufo said. After his comments caused an outcry, which that's the whole point, we're supposed to be outcried about it, it's more gaslighting, right? Of course, Trump backpedaled and heaped praise on British soldiers who fought in Afghanistan. He had no words for the other troops, though. The Netherlands went, by the way, and so did Canada. So many, dozens of allies went. But only the British seem to be remembered, huh? I have seen the statements, in particular from Veterans Association, their outrage, their anger, and their sadness, Rufo said, adding that the transatlantic solidarity should prevail over polemics. You know there is a brotherhood of arms between Americans, Britons, and the French soldiers who went and got into combat. And reminder, France has dozens of memorials, hundreds of memorials to the soldiers who fought in World War II. And they've never claimed that nobody was there. So, yet again, what is it called? Turning the other cheek when the clown says some insulting thing to distract us from the fact of what again, Dad? Release the Epstein files. We're still waiting for them. Unredact them.
Well, congrats, you stole my haiku.
I knew you were going to say it, so I'm just prefacing it already.
You're mind reading again, are you?
Yeah.
Here's my haiku. Rich boy had bone spurs. Poor boy went to war instead. Release files.
That's right. Just keep on asking for those Epstein files, guys, because all of the stuff that's been going on since the beginning of the year is just a distraction. Because what has it been? 2 months since they said they were going to release them.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. The bill passed November the 19th. It's been all released by December the 19th, and here we are, way into January, almost February.
It's going to be 3 months
now.
now.
Still got 1% of the files.
For my birthday, my birthday's on the November 20th. For my birthday, release the Epstein file. That's all I want for my birthday.
You know what I want? It has nothing to do with anything else. It's just,
All right, let's roll the segment wheel for our next story.
All the time. People in their 70s drop dead all the time. Every day, somebody in their 70s drop dead. And it's just one person.
There's people dying at 50,
80.
so,
Right. This motherfucker eats 8 Big Macs a day. Can't drop dead. Come on. All right. So let's do this. I got to write this down. Write down the spin. I find one.
Spin is... Let me fix the audio real quick. Non sequitur.
Non sequitur. Okay.
Non sequitur.
Well, you don't have to think. So. Maybe you can
Okay.
accomplish something with your off time. Here, I got
And
two
let's
stories.
take you to your story. Oh, that's me, not you. There you go.
Yeah. I guess we'll get to the China story second. We'll do the why Europe is going to retaliate against Stinky the Clown. And again, here's why. You want to know why Trump down is because it was going to cost his rich buddies a lot of money, right? Oh my God, they're selling U.S. securities. Oh my God, you don't understand how this works, Trump. He's going to make all of us poor. That's right. And we're going to talk about that right now. Aggression towards Greenland creates a ruinous disaster of a week. This is from JC Online. Michael Hicks is an opinion piece. And I agree with him. I read it. Cursory reading of it. The U.S. has entered a quiet constitutional crisis unlike anything we've ever faced. The most recent symptom is Diaper Donnie's aggression towards Greenland. Trump, on several occasions, threatened to seize Greenland, a barren, icy piece of tundra with fewer full-time residents than Muncie, Indiana. This is beyond bizarre and alarming. Defending it is akin to sprinkling glitter into a porta potty and calling it pudding. Trump, for now, has relented on threats to use everything from military force to tariffs to seize Greenland. He has momentarily settled for negotiations on a deal to give U.S. more control over security of the island. By the way, like I said, why do we want Greenland? We have no idea. It's because of the Epstein files. But not before Germany, France, Great Britain, and other NATO allies have sent troops to defend Greenland for the United States of America. That is insane. At a time when our allies fight Russia and Iran, they're also preparing to fight us. This should be unimaginable, yet Fox News and a host of other Trump propaganda outlets threaten this threat of war against this century-old alliance a simple bargaining ploy. That is farce. The U.S. has enjoyed a strong security agreement with Denmark. Nothing's going to change with Denmark, right? Not our Greenland. Not a damn thing's going to change. This is all a distraction. It's gaslighting to avoid the real issues in the world. The U.S. has enjoyed a strong security arrangement with Denmark, the nation that owns Greenland. We stationed troops there since World War II and shared the defense of this barren island with NATO allies for a lifetime. I actually applied for a job at one of these remote sonar sites because they have to talk to nuclear submarines, right? And they have to position these bases all over the world that can talk to these submarines underwater. The U.S. has enjoyed a strong security arrangement with Denmark that owns Greenland. We have stationed troops there since World War II and shared the defense of its barren island with NATO allies for a lifetime. Denmark is not just a random ally. Denmark supplied troops to help the U.S. destroy Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, which didn't actually, amount to much over time.
Yeah, we just talked about that.
Over the following decades, 43 Danish service members died fighting alongside our forces in Afghanistan. Casualty rate for their armed forces that is higher than ours. The threats towards Greenland dishonor America and belie the generosity of spirit and purpose that propel us to war again and again. The U.S. ratified a treaty with NATO in 1949, the only instance in which NATO invoked its joint security. So like I said, that doesn't qualify. The U.S. Senate ratified the only time NATO has invoked its joint security clause, Article 5, what's after 9/11. Thus, the U.S. is the only nation that NATO was forced to defend. The U.S. is the only nation that NATO was forced to defend. I say this again. The U.S. is the only nation who's dependent on NATO. NATO, sure, we give money. Everybody gives them money. Violating that treaty by invading Greenland, the sovereignty territory of a NATO ally, would constitute a war crime. In such a case, the Trump and President and Shady Vance, the couch fucker, must be impeached, and any member of the government involved with the invasion removed from office and extradited to Denmark for trial. You think that's going to be done with these Republicans? They're cowards. Trump's public remarks on Greenland have been incoherent, rambling, fact-starved, and filled with self-worship, a cornucopia of evidence for impeachment or removal from office under the 25th Amendment. If all this does not make you ashamed of our president and our nation, you are incapable of shame. Fortunately, Trump has backed away from this threat. The biggest taco thus far. Taco, of course, means talk a lot, chicken out. But unfortunately, he has blown apart European alliances. The damage will spread across generations. Our allies are tired of us. Our enemies laugh at us, and the desire to stand up to Trump now exceeds our
Even
fear of
better, the enemies are making money off of it.
As I write this column, if you're a defense contractor, you're going to make some money off Europe building up their arms, for sure. As I write this column, several allied nations are dumping U.S. treasuries. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I don't know what behind-the-scenes sorcery would prevent a bond market rout in the coming days and weeks, but I'm certain every trick is being used. The dollar is dropping and likely to continue its slide while gold and silver prices hit new highs. I talk about it every day. This is not a panic. It is far worse. Our allies have decided we are no longer to be trusted. The American president is no longer the leader of the developed world, and the U.S. no longer is a reliable ally. Our allies are determined. We face an orderly yet fast-paced dissing from our alliances that have spread and nurtured democracy for most of the past century. They will curtail investment and trade with us. They will end military cooperation and trust. They will no longer concern themselves with our well-being. We are in the midst of a divorce proceedings, beneficial marriage in world history. We are fools. The end of the Democratic Alliance will cost us lives on future battlefields, which is an inconvenience that few Americans seem to worry about. The dumping of U.S. bonds will keep upward pressure on mortgage rates. The escalation of the trade war with Europe will cost hundreds of thousands of jobs. This Greenland psychosis will make our grandchildren poorer. It will make us more stupid. Can we get more stupid? I don't know if it's possible, but it is. It definitely is. Even if Denmark welcomed U.S. acquisition of Greenland, it would be stunningly moronic. Greenland is probably worth $1 trillion, or about $8,500 for every American family. That is to buy a piece of land we have almost unfettered access to today and are obligated to defend. So we're just going to spend money that we already have unfettered access to, and we already have a base there. Isn't this just? It's just gaslighting. Your story, you can give me a non sequitur.
Well, this is. I saw a clip. I think over the weekend or maybe on Friday or something. Whatever. I saw a clip recently on my social media where they were interviewing a Greenland person, and they said, "Why would we want to join the United States? They don't have health care. They don't treat their native population very well. Look at the history, right? They're just going to be sequestered into freaking reservations, right? And then still not be happy. And they don't have autonomy, right? Right now, their deal with Denmark is they have almost entire autonomy over their country. They're still technically part of Denmark, but they have autonomy over their country, right? They can people in Greenland can do stuff for Greenland and make choices for Greenland. They don't have to worry about some asshole like the U.S. who's going to say you have to do this and also pay us. It's like Puerto Rico, right? They're neither a state. They have no representation. The whole place has been turned into some sort of weird capitalist playground where the rent's gone up and people who are Puerto Rican can't even live in Puerto Rico anymore.
Well, I don't know. It's still pretty cheap to live there.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying
Anyway.
Puerto Rico's not the same state. They voted to not become a state for whatever reason. It's their decision, right? But Greenland would not be given that choice. They would be stuck as a weird semi...
It's a distraction, man. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. It's a distraction, and it's because of Putin. He's doing this because Putin told him to do it. I'm just telling you, he works for Russia. This is true the entire 10 years of this. He works for Russia. Plain and simple. That's who he works for. Paul Manafort ran the campaign for the Putin puppet in Ukraine. Yeah. It was his last job before he became Trump campaign manager. Paul Manafort went from working for the Putin candidate in Ukraine. When that guy lost, he went to work for Trump the next morning. That's
He's
not
on his payroll, for sure.
Vladimir Putin pushing shit around. Yeah, it's all it is. Trump works for Russia. Greenland's a distraction for everything else that is happening. Everything else. If you're constantly doing this gish gallop of logical fallacies, we can't get to the bottom of what's really happening.
Yeah.
We'll keep getting distracted by things. So let's on to China.
And it is very smart to him using a threat to distract us, right? If you specifically, I'm threatening you. Okay, we better pay attention. Anyways, you have another story?
More despotism news from the AP. Eduardo Castillo. China removes its top general in the military leadership purge. What the hell's going on here? China made if he had to fly out a window. They don't do it the Russian style. Probably don't.
Oh no.
He didn't go to Vlad Putin's flying school. China made a major announcement over the weekend saying it was investigating the Army's top general for suspected serious violations of discipline and law. Yeah, he might be flying out a window soon. General Zhang Yaxia was the highest military member just below President Xi Jinping. That's a big shot. The official says Saturday that authorities are investigating Zhang, the senior of his two vice chairs of the powerful Central Military Commission, China's top of the military body, and General Liu Xinli, a lower member of the commission who was in charge of the military's Joint Staff Department. The move shakes up virtually the entire commission chaired by Xi, only one of its 6 members intact. Xi Jinping has completed one of the biggest purges in China's military leadership in the history of the People's Republic, said Neil Thomas, a fellow at the Asia Society Policy Institute Center of China Analysis. For the Army and China in general, the full impact of the changes is still unknown, but some experts say the moves also might have been repercussions on Beijing's next move on Taiwan, the self-ruled island that Beijing claims as its own territory. Yeah, I think he's going to move on Taiwan, because he just basically got the freaking green light. Trump ain't going to do nothing about it, because he just moved on Venezuela. We can remove people. Why can't China? The Defense Ministry announced that measure Saturday, provided no details on the alleged wrongdoing. The next day, the People's Liberation Army Daily published an editorial that fell short of explaining the specific reasons, saying only that it was for suspected serious violations and discipline and law. Yeah, he didn't agree with some policies, probably what happened, and shows China's commitment to punish corruption is something that Xi has pursued since the early days of his presidency. Rumors have circulated on social media. There have been some media reports about the changes, but nothing official. I do not believe any evidence publicly released or selectively leaked by Chinese authorities would necessarily reflect the core reason for Zhang's removal, said K. Tristan Tang, a non-resident at the Vassie Fellow, a non-resident Vassie Fellow at Pacific Forum. That's her job. That's her title of her chair at her some kind of think tank. The critical point of that, Xi Jinping decided to move against Zhang. Once an investigation is launched, problems are almost inevitably uncovered. Investigation starts on somebody, they've already found something wrong. They just want to get rid of it. Analysts have said that purges are designed to reform the military and ensure loyalty to Xi. They are part of a broader anti-corruption drive that has resulted in the punishment of more than 200,000 officials since Chinese leader came to power in 2012. Before Zhang and Liu's dismissal, the Communist Party expelled the other chair of the commission, He Weidong. In October, he was replaced by Zhang Xingjun, who is now the only commission member. Wow. Since 2012, at least 17 generals from the People's Liberation Army, or PLA, have been removed from military position. Among them, 8 who were former top commission members, according to Bureau military statements and state media reports by the Associated Press. The removals could have repercussions for China's decisions on Taiwan, but it's far from clear. China considers Taiwan its own territory and is certainly take control of the other by force if necessary. China has also increased military pressure, and last month launched a large-scale military drill around Taiwan for 2 days after the U.S. government announced major arms sales to Taiwan. Thomas, who is from the Asia Society Policy Institute, said that makes China a threat towards Taiwan weaker in the short term, but stronger in the long term.
Yep.
It would make a military escalation against the island riskier in the immediate term because of high command in disarray. But in the long term, the army is more loyal and less corrupt, leadership, more military capabilities. So he's getting streamlining it for something. Not going to happen tomorrow, but you don't even know if it's going to happen tomorrow. It could be a feign. Maybe a feign in one direction and do something else. You don't announce what you're going to do in the military. Why would you? Unless the objective is to create internal counterweight, the Zhang Xingman, the only current member of the commission, he said, there appears to be just a real reason to start a war in Taiwan within the next 5 years, I would say. There's your story. Non sequitur should be easy to find.
Yeah, Russia and China are pretty good buddies with each other, so I don't know why. It makes sense that they just take a play out of Russia's book, right? Invade Crimea, see if anybody cares, and then do a full-blown invasion to an entire country.
Whoa.
And wow, nobody cares about that either. Wow, we'll just keep doing that.
We know Trump ain't
Poland and
doing
Lithuania and Estonia, just keep going. Nobody cares. No one's gonna do a stop us.
United States selling arms to Taiwan is meaningless. That just means a bunch of freaking oligarchs got rich selling weapons. We don't care about that. We got our money. Now let's see them fight. Go Taiwan!
Yeah,
Go Taiwan!
It's becoming just like sports, you know?
Yeah,
just rich people going, oh, let's make bets on who's going to win the war. We're not going to have to worry about it. I can run away to Switzerland or whatever, right? I don't have to worry about dying. I can just pay my children to not have to fight in the war.
Or we could do it Russia did to Venezuela and set our substandard broken shit that doesn't work when you try to use it. That was really useful for Russia, huh? Those are I'm for Venezuela. Oh, we love our anti-aircraft guns that don't work.
Thanks a lot.
All
you
right,
really helped us out.
There's your story. In the wheel. I don't have a video unless you got one. I'll try to look.
Let's go to our next segue and my culture news. We're going to be talking about the Twitter drama that's been happening for, I don't know, at least a month now. We've known about the whole rock drama, and now the EU is opening an investigation into it. This is hypothetical. Give me a hypothetical. In a world where social media platforms aren't complete trash, I wish I could experience what that's like. Alright, this story is on... Where was it? Where is the story? Comeback story. There it is. This is on The Independent by Fu Yun-chi. EU investigates Elon Musk's Grok chatbot over explicit images. The European Commission has launched an investigation into the Grok Elon Musk AI chatbot over the production of explicit imagery. Regina Dotry, a member of the European Parliament representing Ireland, announced the investigation today on the 26th of January. It will probe whether the social media platform X, also what I call Twitter, has complied with its obligations under EU digital legislation, including requirements relating to the risk mitigation, content governance, and the protection of fundamental rights, Ms. Doherty said. So, make sure the AI is not doing illegal stuff. And we control if it does illegal stuff, and then we protect people from the illegal stuff. A European Union crackdown on big tech has triggered criticism, even the threat of tariffs from the US. Oh no! A commission spokesperson did not immediately respond when asked to confirm if an investigation had been opened. Twitter did not immediately respond to an emailed request for comment. This case raises very serious concerns about whether platforms are meeting their legal obligations to assess risks properly and to prevent illegal and harmful content from spreading, Ms. Dotry said in an emailed statement. The Commission said earlier in January that the AI-generated images of undressed women and children being shared on Twitter were unlawful and appalling, joining condemnation across the world. And it doesn't matter if it's not their real bodies, the fact that you can generate it is illegal, it's against the law, and then people can use that to, blackmail you people. Hey, I have an image of you being naked. You better give me money or I'm going to send this to your boss so you can get fired. Shit like that. xAI, the artificial intelligence company owned by Musk, said in mid-January that it had implemented a tweak to prevent Grok's account from allowing the editing of images of real people in revealing clothing such as bikinis. What about completely nude? And how did you even have that to begin with? Why was that even checked off as an option? The company also said at the time that it had blocked users based on their location from generating images of people and revealing clothing in jurisdictions where it's illegal. Probably, places that are under certain religious laws where, people have to be clothed. It did not identify those jurisdictions, but you can probably make an educated guess. Ms. Daughtry said that the images had exposed wider weaknesses in how emerging AI technologies are regulated and enforced. It's weird that you have exposed those weaknesses when people who have been in AI for 10 years now, I would say, when deepfakes started becoming popular, right? They've been warning you for years, hey, AI's bad because it can do this and then it can cause problems in society. Oh my god, I can't believe this happened. The European Union has clear rules to protect people online. Those rules must mean something in practice, especially when powerful technologies are deployed at scale. No company operating in the EU is above the law, she added. Britain's media regulator Ofcom launched its own separate investigation earlier this month into whether Twitter has complied with its duties under the UK's Online Safety Act. The answer is it hasn't, because it did the act. Right, it was caught red-handed doing the thing that was illegal. I don't know what else to say about that. I guess you can argue, oh, Twitter isn't responsible for users, whatever they do with Grok. That's not our fault. Probably something they would say in the court of law, right, if they get put on trial. But I think it is. In my opinion, it is their fault. I feel like when you make an AI, you write that stuff into the code from the set-go, you know? Do not do this. Do not do that. Do not make explicit images of children, perhaps. Just an idea. But yet again, as I say every time Twitter comes up on my feed, please uninstall Twitter. Leave the website, deactivate your account. Just pretend it doesn't fucking exist, okay? It's been dead for years. Anything that's happening on there is happening somewhere else. Right? Everyone's multi-posting.
Right.
I guess join a WhatsApp channel, okay? Do that. Because at least they're being regulated, yes.
Yeah.
Some people tell me, oh, I stay on Twitter for the porn. Like, literally, they're staying on Twitter for the porn. I'm like, go to a porn website. Why are you on Twitter for porn? There's a porn websites for this shit.
I wonder, somebody should just have, my hypothetical, somebody just have a website with a bunch of Elon Musk fake porns. It's nothing but him and all kinds of, although he might enjoy that. We don't know about that weirdo. So
but make sure you're in a country that allows it, I guess, because you probably will get fined for making deepfakes of Elon Musk. Yeah. But that's my story. That's my only story. A shorter one.
Your only story, okay. So, okay. I thought you said, okay. So, one story. This day in history. I sent you a video. I'm not the greatest, but it does cover Paul Newman. This day in history.
All right, let's roll the segue. What do we got for our last segue today?
This day.
Oh boy, it's time for me to write a limerick for this day in history. I'll probably have 3 of them.
Oh boy.
So many things happening in history.
Limericked up today. January 26 on the year 1788. Arthur Phillip, who had sailed into what is now called Sydney Cove with a little convicts, hoisted the British flag and established a permanent European settlement on the continent of Australia. Now get off the boat, you convicts. Started, at least, and the British started a penal colony there. He said penal. 1837, Michigan became the 26th U.S. state admitted to the Union. So happy anniversary to Michigan, you Michiganders out there. 1880, Douglas MacArthur was born. Douglas MacArthur, the U.S. General Command of the U.S. Southwest Pacific Theater in World War II, administered post-war Japan during the Allied occupation, and led the United Nations forces during the Ninth Supreme War. One of the most overrated generals in the history of the world.
Also, so infamous that he has an entire ideology named after him, McCarthyism or whatever.
No, that's not him. You're thinking of Joe McCarthy, the...
Oh, 2 different guys, okay.
This is Douglas MacArthur, the way different guys. He was anti-communist, sure, but again, Douglas MacArthur, an incompetent general. After Pearl Harbor, he was the commander in the Philippines. He left all of his aircraft, all down the airfield, didn't cover, didn't camouflage, hide them. Just let the Japanese destroy his entire air fleet. Yay,
Yeah.
Douglas MacArthur incompetence. So he should have been removed from command and thrown out of the army right there and then. But he had a lot of tough guy things that he said. So people appreciate the tough guy. The guy tough and, basically, let
He better be tough. He fucked up royally, so...
He fucked up on purpose, is what he did. 1885, British general. You can't be that incompetent and be a general. He did it on purpose. 1885, British General Charles George Gordon, much of the Egyptian garrison defending Khartoum, this is in the Sudan, were killed by Mahdists. So, okay, so British general, he was killed. A bunch of people on his side were. In 1925, Paul Newman was born in Cleveland, Ohio. His good looks and charisma helped him make an enduring screen presence in the second half of the 20th century. Movies like Butch Sundance and the Sundance, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. The Sting and Mic Drop, which is Slapshot, probably one of the best sports movies ever made. 1942, the first U.S. expeditionary force to land in Europe during World War II reached Ireland. Here we go. We're going to practice Ireland. 1950, India became achieving full independence from Great Britain as the British Empire continued to dwindle. 1958, comedian and television host Ellen DeGeneres was born in Metairie, Louisiana, which is right on Lake Pontchartrain, who is known for her quirky observational humor. She's still around, by the way. 1962, Lucky Luciano died at age 65 in Italy. He was thrown out of the country in 1946 for being an organized crime guy. 1988, Andrew Lloyd Webber, legendary plagiarist Andrew Lloyd Webber's The Phantom of the Opera, musical version of the Gaston melodramatic
random
novel.
straight Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Yeah, Pete Townsend, among others, has sued him. So let's get right to this case. He's a plagiarist. 2001, a massive earthquake struck near Bhuj, Gujarat, India, on the morning of the country's Republic Day holiday, killing more than 20,000 people, injuring 100,000 extensive damage. Earthquakes, nothing to fuck around with. The ground under you just to move. In a tragedy today, 6 years ago, Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash along with one of his children and the pilots and the other passengers. It doesn't say anything else about the passengers. It just says his accomplishments. But tragic day. World's largest diamond was discovered, though, in 1905. That was 121 years ago. And this day, 1905, a diamond that weighed over a pound was found in a premier mine in South Africa when it was presented to the mining office. However, it was dismissed as a worthless crystal and tossed out a window, like it was a Russian general. Tossed out a window. It was recovered soon after, sold for 1907 to the King of Britain. The King of Britain had a shitload of money, apparently. The gem, which became known as the Cullinan Diamond, eventually spawned 9 major stones and 96 minor stones. So they didn't leave it as one diamond.
No, they didn't just keep a giant diamond around.
Shitload of money on it.
It was probably not shaped well.
Made money off the kid. Yeah. Cutters is a really prestigious profession. Wayne Gretzky's birthday today. The ice hockey player born in January 26, 1961. He's turned 65 today. Happy birthday to Wayne Gretzky, all-time scorer in NHL history. He was born in Brantford, Canada, and I guarantee you they put a pair of skates on him as soon as he could walk. 1918, Ceausescu was president of Romania. He was disposed. Former commie Nikolai, he's long gone, former president of Romania, but he was born in 1918. We did Paul Newman, Angela Davis, American actress, 1944, who was locked up for being related to somebody. It's the most amazing thing in America, that you can just be locked up in prison for being related to somebody. Yep. 1958, Ellen DeGeneres. We did that, and then we did Wayne Gretzky. Yes, we did all them birthdays. National Day today. It's only a couple things. National Green Juice Day. Squeeze something green and drink what comes out of it, unless it's a frog. National Peanut Brittle Day. Yeah, don't do that with a frog or a snake. National Peanut Brittle Day. Peanut brittle. It's decidedly not good for your teeth, especially if you get them stuck together when you pull out a filling. National Spouses Day. So if you have a spouse, say, hey, spouse, do me some spouse type stuff, but appreciate your spouse, because the spousiness, they get it all over you.
Marrying somebody and sharing your taxes.
And if nothing else, it's National Bubble Wrap today. That's right. Lock yourself in a room. Pop, 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 and pop. Those are your days, your limericks, your haikus, everything for January 26, 2026 on before peanut brittle and green juice.
I think
if you drink
put the green juice in your peanut brittle.
You will be in the toilet all day long. Those are not going to sit. Somebody can go,
well, I think a lot of people don't get enough green juice myself. Not enough people are eating enough green stuff. True. So maybe you do need a green cleanse once in a while. It's actually really funny on the national date calendar. It says, the initial sparkle of New Year may have settled, but National Green Juice Day is the ultimate refresh button for our wellness goals. That's what it says on the page. I love that. So refresh your life with some green stuff.
Let's have one.
Yeah. My limerick is... On January 26th, we cheer for green juice, our wellness frontier. With spinach and kale in a blend we prevail, reviving our goals for the year. Then my other limerick is, in hockey, he skated with grace. With talent, he set the high pace. Wayne Gretzky the Great made every night fate, as records fell all over the place.
Wow, many he was called the Great Gretzky. That was his nickname. The Great Gretzky.
In South Africa's earth, deep and grand, a diamond was found, truly unplanned. The largest of all, it gleamed like a call, a treasure to sparkle and stand. Don't you just love rhyming? I love rhyming.
Pop, pop. I was hoping for a bubble wrap.
It's International Day of Clean Energy. That's right. We finally made it. The end of January, where all the UN international days are. Your camera's doing something weird. Energy lies at the core of Double Challenge, leaving no one behind, protecting the planet. And clean energy is crucial to that solution. So on January 26th, celebrate clean energy for all, not just the rich people or the rich countries, but everyone. Over 75% of the global greenhouse gas emissions come from burning fossil fuels for energy. Polluting fuels for cooking causes 3.2 million premature deaths annually, and clean cooking can prevent many of these. Every $1 invested in renewables creates 3 times more jobs than any in the fossil fuel industry. So there's just 3 reasons why you should care about clean energy and celebrate that today, because the UN told us to. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast of the US, as we covered all our European and US and other news from Asia as well. No, Africa, I guess, today. Well, I guess South Africa, the history news. And we will see you tomorrow for Good Tuesday News Day. I know we're all always a bit doom and gloom here on Mondays because the weekend. It's Monday. It's Mucking Fun Day. What do you want? But Tuesday we'll have some positive news, talking about that positive stuff that's going on out there, giving us hope in humanity, because it's not. It's not all the end of the world. And Not for everyone, anyways. So don't forget to subscribe to the Before Coffee podcast channel so you can let YouTube know that people enjoy our podcast and are enjoying watching the show, because we need more subscribers on there. We don't even have 300 subscribers on Before Coffee podcast. So thank you for everyone who's already following and subscribed. Don't forget to turn on those notifications so you know when we go live and post a video. And appreciate all the support from Patreon, from our Wholesome Deviants. And here is our mic drop moment.
I
actually don't know what you sent me. I didn't read the title.
Paul Newman's 101st birthday, and he was in the best, or one of the top 10 sports movies of all time, Slapshot, where he's a minor league hockey coach.
Okay. And it's also Wayne Gretzky's, so it's like a combo thing.
Wayne Gretzky's birthday also. So there you go. These are a combination of hockey and Paul Newman. So.
Look at these guys with their glasses.
Dunlop, the coach. Grab your freaking gear and let's get going.
Okay. Come on, Steve. Let's go.
Okay.
You think they show Speed Racer here?
Oh, there you go. That worked.
You think they show Speed Racer here? These guys are like little kids, and they're going to be they're professional hockey players.
Yeah, right. Well, at least he can tackle really well. He can take the hits from the vending machine.
Iron Leg.
No, it's called checking in hockey.
Hey, I want a soda.
They're thugs, all three of them. They're just thugs. They can't really play hockey. They just knock people over.
Yeah.
They're just straight up thugs.
They are acting like they're really doing a good job of acting like 12-year-old men.
Yeah, like children.
Yeah.
It's like,
Look at that, little cars, and this is what they packed.
little remote control toys, remote control cars.
Oh,
that's their
dear.
Toys. Well, adults good stuff.
Are there any men on this team?
Are you crazy? Those guys are retards.
I got a good deal.
Oh, you know this is an old film. I can't believe he said that.
Brought their fucking toys with them.
There'll be plenty of words.
Playing with their toys and playing with themselves.
They're too dumb to play with themselves. Boy, every piece of garbage that comes in the market, you gotta buy it.
Reg, that reminds me. I was coaching in Omaha in 1948, and Eddie Shore sends me this guy as a
Struther Martin, by the way.
You know, couldn't control himself.
Oh, talking about him, huh?
Deliberate penalties so he could get into the penalty box
No,
all by himself.
he's talking about somebody else.
Oh, okay.
What was his name?
Oh, that is definitely a
Struther Martin.
movie of its time. Definitely couldn't make those jokes
That was
today.
a great movie. Yeah, you could. Why not? Oh, you mean you can't say retard? You can say retard. You can say retard all you want, thanks to Joe Rogan.
Oh, right, of course. I'm glad he is my morality factor.
Joe Rogan. That was their big push to push the people to say retard on stage again. I'm like, okay, congratulations.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.